name is Nick Hunter. This is skill 11. This is going to be a venipuncture and a cephalic vein for a dog. So Norma's going to restrain him for me, and what she's going to do for me to do actual venipuncture is she's going to hold off the leg, which will give me access to the cephalic vein. When she holds it off, it's going to keep the blood filling up the vein so that it'll be there for me to stick. Before I stick the vein or do anything else, I want to palpate it first to make sure I know where it is. So once I have an idea of where it is, I'm going to rinse it with alcohol, kind of help sterilize it. And then now that there's alcohol on it and it's sterilized, I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'll take my syringe and I'm going to pull in the plunger first just to make sure it's nice and loose when I go to pull for blood. And then when I stick, I want to make sure that the bevel is up for when I stick. You got them? Okay. So we'll go ahead and stick this valve in. Can you see that, Jim? My name's Nick Hunter. This is skill 11. Again, this is going to be cephalic venipuncture on a dog. So Norma's got his arm already held off. And so with her having it held off, I should be able to feel the vein, which should be right up here on top. It's a little bouncy. I'm going to go ahead and just soak it with alcohol, kind of sterilize the area. Now that I've done that, I can't actually touch it with my hand again, but I already have an idea where it is. Next thing I want to do is make sure that my plunger is pulled back on the syringe so that when I go to pull for blood, it's nice and smooth. And then finally, when I go to poke for blood, I want to make sure that the bevel's up. So we're going to go ahead and poke. And I got a nice flash already, so I'm good with blood. Now once I've got enough blood, I'm just going to stick my thumb over where I stuck and hold that off so that no other bleeding occurs and that we make sure that the vein doesn't blow. My name is Nick Hunter. This is venipuncture on a cat, the cephalic vein specifically. So Jen is holding off the vein for me, so when she's doing that, it's causing the vein to fill up so I can feel it. So right here, when I palpate and kind of touch, I feel this little bouncy vein. So that's where I'm going to poke. What I'm going to do is just rinse the area with alcohol to kind of help keep it a little bit sterilized or as best as can, and then we'll give it a poke. But once it's rinsed with alcohol, I'm not going to touch it again. And then with the syringe, I want to go and make sure I pull the plunger back already so that when I stick, I can go and pull back and it's nice and smooth. And then of course, when I stick, I'm going to make sure the bevel is up. And then I'll hold it off and make sure that the vein doesn't blow once I pull the needle out. Good job, This is skill 11. This is cephalic venipuncture on a cat. Norma's restraining the cat for me and she's got the vein held off by rolling off on the arm. So if I feel for it, it should be right here. What I'm going to do is just rinse it with some alcohol, keep the area a little bit sterile. With the syringe, I want to go ahead and make sure that I pull on the plunger so that when I pull for blood, it's already nice and smooth. And then when I poke the bevel up, I won't touch the area again since I've already rinsed it with alcohol. Next.
That is for Delta's protocol.
Okay, that'll be enough. Then I'll hold it off just to make sure that the vein doesn't blow. My name is Nick Hunter. This is skill 11. This is going to be a jugular venipuncture for a dog. So the first thing I'm going to do is get everything I need. So I've got a syringe, I've got alcohol to sterilize it, and I've got my tubes for the blood that I'm going to collect. The first thing I want to do is hold off in the thoracic inlet to make sure that I can feel the jugular vein. So I'm going to put my thumb right in here in the inlet, and the vein will pop up, and I can feel it right here. So just feel it right there. It's nice and bouncy. Next thing I'm going to do is spray it with alcohol to kind of sterilize the area. Now that it's sterilized, I'm not going to touch it again. With my syringe, I'm going to go ahead and pull the plunger down just to make sure that I've got a nice even pull on it before I pull any blood. And then of course when I go to stick, I want to stick with the bevel up. So. And then once I've got all the blood I need, I'm going to put my thumb right where I stuck, hold it off so that I don't have any blowing in the vein. This is skill 11. This is a jugular venipuncture on a dog. So I'm going to go ahead and put my thumb in the thoracic inlet, and that will help hold off the vein so that I can feel it. And for him, his is going to be right in here, and I can feel that there. So now that I know where it is, I'm going to rinse the area with alcohol to keep it sterile. And I'm not going to touch it again at this point. Go ahead and get my syringe ready. Make sure that I pull the plunger already so that it's nice and smooth when I go to pull blood. Then of course when I stick, I want to make sure that the bevel is up. So I'm going to go ahead and poke. I kind of forgot where it was. And then now that I've got my blood, I'm just going to hold off the area. Make sure that the vein doesn't blow. This is skill 11. This is a venipuncture of the jugular on a cat. So I've got it held off by the thoracic inlet so that I'll be able to feel the vein. Normal's doing their straining for me. So it should be right in here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse the area with some alcohol just to kind of sterilize it a little bit. For the syringe, I'm going to pull the plunger back on it so that when I go to pull for blood, it's already nice and smooth. And then when I stick, I want to make sure the bevel is up. You got tough skin, sweetie. And then once I get all my blood, I'll stick my thumb where I stuck to hold it off to make sure the vein doesn't blow. Nick Hunter, this is skill 11 again. This is venipuncture on a cat for the jugular. So here's holding the cat off for me. I've got my thumb in the thoracic inlet so that I can hold off the vein. Where I palpate, I should feel it right in here. So what I'll do is just rinse the area with alcohol, and then I won't touch it again at this point. And then for my syringe, I want to pull the plunger first so that I know when I go to pull for blood, it's nice and smooth. And then always stick with the bevel up. My name is Nick Hunter. This is going to be skill 11, venipuncture on a lateral saphenous on a dog. So Norma's holding him off in lateral recumbency. As you can see, the vein runs right here. When she holds off, the vein fills up with blood. So I'm going to rinse the area with alcohol. With my syringe, I want to pull back on the plunger, make sure that's nice and smooth for when I get blood. And then of course when I stick with the bevel up. You see the blood, Sarah?
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to hold it off, make sure that the vein doesn't blow. My name is Nick Hunter. This is skill 11 again. This is going to be venipuncture on a medial saphenous for a feline. So I've already trimmed up the area where I'm going to poke for blood. You can see it here that the vein's running right in here. So the vein's running right in here. I know where it is. I can't feel it very well, but I do know where it is. That's where I'm going to be sticking for blood. I'm going to rinse the area with alcohol just to keep it sterile. And then once it's sterile, I'm not going to touch it again. I'm going to make sure that my syringe is good to go. So I'll pull back the plunger a couple times, make sure it's nice and smooth when I pull blood. And then when I go to poke, I'll have the bevel up. sweetie, we need more blood than that.
I'm good.
You can see it.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I'm